It's not a major undertaking in the sense that it's going to take months and months to do. So we're deliberating over it. We're dealing with it. We're working with the parking authority on it.
The $90,000 number was an overstatement of the number that I had heard. It was about 1/3 of that amount, about $30,000 to do a surface lot, and very simply. So it was not a $90,000 expenditure, and it was going to put about 35 cars, which we could lose the other tomorrow. If they decide that they need to stage those, the east or west portion, all of that customer parking is gone overnight. So all that metered parking where you pay and display, we don't control that. That's on a handshake right now. They could terminate that in 30 days. And it takes more than 30 days to create that other parking lot.
And to the councilman's point, this is actually a dialogue we had a year ago. And I thought that there was a conceptual agreement that we were going to deal with that parking lot. Remember, it's also, and I'm not trying to suggest to you we're going to make $40,000 in the first week, but it's an income-generating initiative in the sense that those costs are going to be defrayed. I don't know what the projection is as to the number, but I would venture a guess that very, very quickly the money that we expend there, in fact, would be recouped by virtue of the meters, number one. Number two, we now, for the most part, you're going to find here in Fort Lee that, I don't want to throw a percentage at you, but we do everything now in-house. We tap into our talent pool. We tap into the contractors that we have. This is not an outside, I'm going off afar, but this is not a contract where we got to hire outside contractors. We have an incredibly talented and very resourceful Department of Public Works and what I refer to as a special projects team. We now build Little League fields. We rehabilitate parks. We build parking lots. So
skateboard parks.
Skateboard parks. I have a feeling that even the number that you referred to is even less than that. But we take it under advisement, and there's no action being taken on it tonight. But I appreciate your comments.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to be heard? Yes, ma'am. Name and address, if you would.
Yeah, Martha Cohen, 1530 Palisade Avenue, Fort Lee.
Good evening.
Good evening. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy holidays. I'm also here because of this, this fee. And as far as I'm concerned, it's another tax. $5, $50, doesn't matter. It's another tax. We are tax all the people in Fort Lee who have to drive in Fort Lee, can't find a space, have to pay at the parking meter. And I disagree with you, Mr. Cervieri. It isn't easy to avoid it. When you have your child in the community center playing a ball game and you have to come out because the meter goes till midnight, or you miss your child making a great shot, you know, that's a choice of, am I paying $28 or am I watching my kid make his shot? You know,
if it was free after 6 o'clock, the residents in an area.
There isn't. You should go look. There isn't. Right by the community center. It's till midnight.
You're not listening to me. The reason that it's extended to midnight is because those high-rise buildings around that have paid parking on their own premises, if it were free after 6, they would then use that parking lot for their own residential parking, and then parking would not be available to anybody who wants to shop or to utilize the community center. So by having it as a metered parking lot, that enables you to at least have access to a space. Otherwise, you'd have the carriage house, you'd have the presidential, and you'd have all those townhouses around that don't have adequate parking on site. They'd be clogging up those lots and the street parking, and you wouldn't be able to find a place. You'd have to probably park on Abbott Boulevard and walk a couple blocks.
I respectfully disagree. First of all, the parking across from the Rite Aid is till 6 o'clock. So why the ones right in front of the, yes, go look.
It's 12 o'clock.
No, it says 6 o'clock.
By ordinance.
You should go look. It says 6 o'clock. Number two is I very much disagree, because there are usually spots there, you know, around the place. I totally disagree. That is a tax on our families. That is unfair tax. And what you should do, and what should be considered, is that people who live in Fort Lee should have certain times, a time element, or should be able to park free for at least a certain amount of time at a meter before the meter kicks in or they start to get a
thing. In fact, it was a suggestion that I had made at the meeting, was that, for that $5 4-year sticker, that if you had someone parked overtime, tire would be marked and you get 15 minutes free time before they would actually give you a ticket. So, you mean you could have 15 minutes forever, every single day, because you might not miss that that buzzer shot for the three-pointer to win the game, because you have 15 minutes more than the 1 hour, 2 hours, or 3 hour meter. If it could only take a 1 hour, maybe that meter should be extended so that it could accept enough time to allow for a basketball game. It should be perhaps a 2 hour meter. And then at the end of the 2 hours, if they see that your time's expired, they're supposed to mark your tire, come back 15 minutes later, and if it's still expired, then you get a ticket.
I think that's at least the right way to think, but I think it would be better if you're a resident, you get 2 hours of free parking or 3 hours of free parking, they mark your tire, and then if you don't come out, to put money in the meter. Because otherwise, all we're doing is keep taking money from our pockets. And I don't know if you've noticed, but people are still really hurting. There's a lot of people who aren't getting bonuses, who are losing their benefits.
Well, I'm a real estate professional. I know for the last 2 years what it is.
So So why to have any extra money? Every dollar is precious to the people in our community. The second thing is, I don't understand, to Nina's point, December 23rd, that's a ridiculous time to have it, even if it was in the evening. We all know that everybody's on their way out. School closes. It's a half a day. You know that, Mark. It's a half a day that day. Most kids aren't even in school that day because the concerts are at that time. People are away. So even if you had it in the evening, people are away for Christmas and the holidays. I would respectfully ask that you consider moving it to January. At least people get a chance to have a fair hearing.
Sounds like Washington.
Well, I mean, fair is fair. You know, why is it on a holiday? It's like when that bond ordinance happened on August 19th for the $2.3 million. It happened on August 19th. You had 20 days. You had between the end of the summer when everyone's away to Labor Day to say anything. I mean, this just doesn't, it may not be meant to be unfair, but it doesn't cut the fairness test. And the other thing is, it'd be nice, I mean, I only knew about this because I was...
If I can
Yes.
just respond to the August 19, these go on our website, they're on our agenda. The statutes require that we publish them and advertise for them well in advance of those hearing dates. We only convene, I believe, one public meeting, July and August, correct, each month?
One executive.
The point I'm making is, I mean, government can't stop in those summer months when there's something that's that critical. I mean, I hear you, and quite frankly, I just, again, want to just reaffirm with the public, I know it's, I guess, principle, but we're talking about a $5 surcharge that's going to span a usage of 4 years, which is $1.25 a year, and I understand we're trying to reduce. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised as to what you're going to see as far as taxes on the municipal side this upcoming budgetary cycle, but they're critical. It needs to be done because the parking authority apparently isn't issuing badges, and we're trying to get it done before the year's out.
Is the parking authority in deficit?
Yes.
Parking authority is in
Runs in
deficit.
deficit.
Not just this program within the parking
Right.
authority.
Yeah,
This program in the parking authority runs in deficit.
Just this program, but not anything else. So you could, I mean, there's monies in the parking authority if they wanted to go and share money from a line that isn't in deficit, they could do that.
I don't know. Unfortunately, and I think that way also, Martha.
Martha, don't forget, the parking authority, they run the senior citizen buses. They take people to medical appointments,
Non-emergency medical. Non-emergency medical transportation.
non-emergency
Free
medical
transportation.
transportation. The senior citizen can't get, who does not drive, has to go to a doctor. They call the parking authority, we take them for free. We don't charge them. The parking authority takes them.
But the point
certain
is,
days.
the point is,
We go to the stores, we run buses to the stores, to the old Pathmark that was there, or to the ShopRite. Now we're going to go down to the ShopRite.
right, which you said that the Bergen County is going to give us money toward that when we were at the senior thing. Is that not true
We don't know
now?
if we're going to get money now from Bergen County.
Well, I'm just saying,
We're going to do it anyway.
but the point is that all citizens are equal, and what you're doing is you're taking where we're paying nothing, but we are all paying for the meters. We are all paying for the meters.
Would you suggest,
$5, and it's not just $5, because $5 could become $10, could become $15.
would you,
Not going to become,
Not here.
this is this program. That's
Okay,
all that we're
but
doing
the
here.
bigger point to me is, it shouldn't just be Nina and I coming to talk about it, because we happen to be vigilant on the website, and you had to look for it on the website. It's not on the front page or anything like that of the website. So why can't you consider moving this to January?
We shall.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I
Martha.
appreciate that. And I have one other question. We're on I guess the last meeting, you authorized the issuance of not to exceed $1.8 million in special emergency notes for the payment of contractually required severance liabilities. Could you just explain that, what that really
Yes,
is?
we've had, actually, when I started, we were at, I believe, a full complement of 109 police officers. As we sit before you right now, we are at 89. And through this program of attrition, we've cut salaries probably, I'm going to venture a guess and say somewhere to the tune of $5, $6, $7 million, which we're very, very proud of. As a matter of fact, just to give you a quick statistic, an officer that retires, and typically an officer that retires is on the job 25, 30 years at maximum pay, even though his or her pay might be $130,000 or $40,000, after benefits, after pension contributions, that costs us, the borough, about $225,000. Upon retirement, that $225,000 for a patrolman goes down to $26,000 per annum for the borough. In the case, for example, of a captain, it's going to cost us $250, $260 a year. This is no different in any other municipality. That $260 goes down to $26,000 or $24,000 a year for benefits. So we've saved millions and millions in salaries through this attrition initiative because we haven't rehired, as you're well aware. However, under prior collective bargaining agreements, officers have been able to accumulate various sick days, time unspent, not used, rather than dip in and cost the taxpayers and make that, have a direct impact on their tax bills. What we've done is we've bonded. Right now, the bonding rates are probably the lowest, I don't want to say in history, but at least over the last 30 or 40 years.
Went out yesterday on
1%.
What is it?
0.99.
It's under 1%. It's on the verge of being free money, so we take that because you don't pay this terminal leave over time. These are lump sum payments that are made. So in fact, those lump sum payments were made by using this bonding money, which costs us a limited cost. Jan?
Yeah, also, Mr. Mayor, the reason the officer, in the past, the officers have taken it over 3 years, but because of the uncertainty of the $15,000 cap that was being talked about by the state, they didn't know if they didn't take all their money, if they were going to get held to the $15,000, so all of them took it in one lump sum.
Okay.
So we even advised them to take it over 3 years for purposes.
Right.
They didn't want to do it. They were afraid they were going to lose it. Nobody can tell them specifically they weren't going to lose it, so they all took the money. And this $1.8 million is what the state government did to make it easier for the towns to put up with this additional cost.
Okay, great. And so
There's
just,
also 10 civilians left also. So that added into it also.
Wasn't all dispersed.
And this is a very unusual circumstance.
Yeah, finally, bear in mind,
Normally, I'm sorry, Armin.
okay, go ahead, Peg.
Normally, the town has maybe 3 retirements a year.
Right.
So over this past year was such a bundle that the state allowed us to finance over a 5-year period.
and you said how many people was it this year?
It's about 30 people that left in the last 12 to 18 months.
And so will that impact this $9 million compensated absence liability? Will that go down ultimately?
I have no idea what that is.
Okay, it was in your budget, so I have to, okay.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
provision.
yes.
That will go down because that's the provision that covers
Yes.
these things, so that will go
That's right.
down.
So we'll see that in the next budget?
Right.
Well, that's an informational thing. That's as we went with the debates.
Right,
That's not
right,
actually
but
that's paid
that
out.
will-
That's the
but
worst
that-
case
But then our
scenario.
ultimate liability for everybody else will go down, and we'll see what that liability should be in the next year.
That's the worst case scenario.
Okay,
And then
thank-
future lives here
I'm
are
sorry.
all capped. Are capped.
Okay.
You're referring to a worksheet that was in the budget. That's a worst-case scenario.
Right.
Not an actual line item.
Right,
that
but it
appears.
is
I
what
apologize. I know
what we're
you're referring.
liable for.
That's if everything,
Right, if everybody retired and
wait.
everything at once.
We're liable for, that's the worst-case scenario.
right. The point's made. You understand?
Okay, yeah, I got you. Okay, so
Perfect storm, that's what we were facing.
thanks for the change to January, and we'll be looking for the date. Thank you so much.
I didn't say that.
I thought you said,
I said we would take it under
We
consideration.
consider it.
Oh, under consideration. Okay, is there a time to make the decision so we can be,
I will address it as soon as I could get it addressed. I'll deal with it tomorrow and find out what everyone's availability is.
okay, thank you very much.
There are probably better issues, though, respectfully, to raise. I mean, I got to tell you, in the area of issues, I got a list of a lot of other things you could probably complain about better, but this $5 issue just seems like we're really blowing it out of proportion just to defray the cost of this particular program, which again, over 4 years, cost the person that's participating in the program $1.25 per year, Martha, but
No,
again.
$1.25 for 40.
No, it's $1.25 per year.
Yeah, for over 4 years.
It's a total charge of $5. You'll never have to make that payment until 2015. It just, I'm not so sure I understand how, I guess I'm not placing the same importance on it as you are, but I give you my word, we will take it under advisement. If I could schedule this to a night where other people can come and participate, I certainly will.
And also to your point of you can't schedule everything when you can, I think when it comes to major disbursements like the $2.3 million, it should be done when it's not near a holiday, where people do have the 20 days when they're not going to be away at the end of the summer. I think then you could do those things earlier.
Yeah, Martha, excuse me, I can't, you can't get away with that because some of this stuff is time sensitive.
Okay.
And we have requirements that we have to do. So if something comes on the 19th and we miss it, and then it costs us another $100,000, you're just going to be up here saying, well, why didn't you do it in time?
Right,
So
Jack,
my
wait.
point is that we have to do things in a certain manner, that it's time sensitive, and if the time is running, the meetings have to be held. And that's in the case that if there's a special meeting for some specific reason, it's because of a reason like that.
So that was done because that was the only time it could have been done, and
There was a
no...
time-sensitive issue
there
when
was-
it had to get done.
And there was no other...
To attend on the 19th?
No, or the 20 days in between, and neither were a lot of other people who were very interested in that issue. Thank you.
Government.
Okay. Anyone else from the public like to be heard? Yes, ma'am. Then, sir.
Yeah, apparently.
Mayor, there's a lot of people who go to Florida in this town in the winter. I think we should suspend all borough business for January, February, and March, because there may be people who want to be heard on those issues, but they can't because they're in Florida.
Armin, I think people leave right around Thanksgiving, so I think December should be included.
Sir, oh, ma'am, excuse me.
Yeah.
Name and address, please.
Deborah Jameson Callan, 52 Claremont Road.
Well,
Yes, and Mircha Callan.
nice to see you again.
Yes. Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor and council.
Yeah, ma'am, you know what?
Lift the microphone a little bit.
Pick the mic up.
There we go.
I guess I'm too tall for this.
It's okay. You should be, the amplifier should be on, so
Well, I don't know.
you got to speak
It's a
up. Just
soft
speak
one.
up so the mic can pick you up.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council. I have resided for the past 15 years at 52 Claremont Road. I own a very successful mobile pet grooming business. Prior to purchasing my van, I checked with the parking authority and the police regarding parking it in my driveway and was told by both that it was okay. After over 4 years of parking my van overnight in my driveway, I received a letter from Robert Pirelli telling me that I was in violation of Borough Ordinance Chapter 410, Section 410-41. This ordinance prohibits the storage of commercial vehicles on residential property and does not mention the word park. Therefore, this ordinance, as it is now written, does not pertain to me. However, if this ordinance is to be amended and the word park added, it will affect hundreds of commercial vehicles that currently park in their driveways. These business owners and myself need to have clarification regarding this ordinance once and for all.
Was the summons actually issued, ma'am?
No, it wasn't. However, I have a letter.
No, that's okay. There's a letter that was issued by Inspector Pirelli to...
Yes, I have it right here, and he added the word park. He said that I was in violation of parking or storing a commercial vehicle. In the ordinance... Okay, please be advised, it is a violation of Borough Ordinance to park or store commercial vehicles, boats, trailers, and construction vehicles in a residential zone. You are hereby ordered to remove the vehicle in question within 5 days of receipt of this notice. Otherwise, a summons answerable in municipal court will be issued.
I think, just so that I know, I don't, because we met on this, I recall.
Yes, we did.
And, you know what, I think it's best that, let me speak with Inspector Pirelli and understand his position. I know that the summons, I think, was precipitated by somebody that complained, correct? in other words, this wasn't, was this a sweeping, was this something that Pirelli was sweeping one day for commercial vehicles? I mean, it's something precipitated this.
No.
No,
This,
he wasn't sweeping, and actually, I have here tents and tents.
No, I'm just asking, that wasn't,
No, it wasn't sweeping.
because I don't recall, was it a
Yeah.
complaint that was filed by someone?
yes, it was.
Okay. And it's a question of the language in the ordinance?
The language in the ordinance says,
Let me see the
410-41, the storage of all commercial vehicle in residential area shall be prohibited, except that one such vehicle may be stored in a wholly enclosed garage as an accessory use. Outdoor storage of commercial vehicle in a residential zone shall be prohibited. It doesn't say anything of what Mr. Pirelli.
I understand
Well,
your
he's
point.
putting the word park in
I
here.
understand your point. I think
And-
what you're going to find when I speak to Pirelli again is that storage and park are interchangeable. However, there's a mechanism for you. Just stay with me one second. We have a municipal court that handles these things, and I know it's not where you want to go, but we have a very fair and reasonable judge. This is not that tribunal at this point, but I will speak to Pirelli tomorrow, find out exactly what his understanding of the ordinance is, and I will let you know. I mean, this is kind
Well-
of out of our bailiwick. This is a building department issue that they've
Well,
filed.
but aren't you over the building department?
Not for specific interpretations such as this. As a matter of fact, the building department is deemed to be an autonomous agency for this very purpose, so that we can't exert too much influence over them. But
Okay, well, I
I'll take it up
can
with
tell
Pirelli
you,
tomorrow.
according to Mr. Pirelli, park and storage mean the same thing,
That's what I just said to you.
but they don't.
Okay. All right. Again, I will deal with them, and we will.
Well, Mayor, we would appreciate this because we are taxpayers in this town.
I understand.
For 15 years. This is a tremendous hardship.
Yes, I've had to find parking for
it's-
my van in North
Well,
Bergen.
beside that, this is going on for too long. We're trying, you know very well, my wife.
I understand absolutely.
We
Very
wrote
pleasant,
letters to
and I
your
certainly
authority.
don't want inconvenience brought to you, but it's just clear to you that there's a complainant involved, and that's what precipitated the letter from Pirelli, if I understand the facts correctly.
Yes.
In other words, the direct neighbor, or without
Right, but
getting
I
into
was
names.
parked there
We're not
for
talking
4
about that.
Right, but that's what precipitated this.
But we're not talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about a zoning ordinance that has a specific text. And the summons is issued with a different text. This is totally in your jurisdiction.
Okay.
This is not possible.
Okay.
So, this is going on for months and months and months. And we'd like to hear from you. That's why we came tonight.
Okay. I will take it
There
up, I will take it up with,
rates of commercial vehicle, and I just heard in your response to previous speaker that you would encourage local resources, using local contractor. Now, what I see here, it's, you know, creating a tremendous hardship for all these people. These are pictures of commercial
again,
vehicle.
I will take it up with the inspector. I will find out the basis for it. I have a feeling he's going to tell me again that his interpretation of the word store or storage is the same as park or parking, but I will take that up with him.
So then why are all these other vehicles allowed to be parked? Why is it just me that's told to?
Maybe they should get violations. Look, the purpose of that ordinance is so that in residential zones, in single-family, two-family apartments, whatever, folks aren't looking at commercial vehicles. Now, it's generally, stay with me, generally interpreted on a case-by-case basis. So, again, I will take it up with him, and hopefully I can relieve you of this burden, but I need to know exactly what the basis of his issuance of that letter to you was.
Commercial,
If not, worst-case scenario, if a violation ultimately issues, this argument then gets proffered to our municipal court judge, who renders a determination as to whether or not your interpretation of the ordinance is right or his interpretation is right. That's ultimately who will make this decision if a
Well,
violation issues.
I don't understand even why this is a problem. I work 6 days a week. It's my own business. I come home in the evening, sometimes 8 o'clock. It's dark. I have a driveway that's pitched down, and I park the van there. It's virtually coming down the street one way. You don't even see it. And it's dark. What could that possibly bother someone? How could that bother someone?
I don't know, I'm not the complainant.
No, but it's
Commercial
ridiculous.
vehicles it's a very broad category of commercial vehicle. I mean, a commercial vehicle could be something like construction equipment.
Sure.
I mean, there are different things that constitute commercial vehicles.
It's not a dump truck. I'm not
No,
driving
no, I
that
understand.
around.
I've seen your.
It's a van that I invested a lot of money in, and I would not have invested that kind of money if I hadn't been told by the parking authority and the police that it was okay. And to this day, you can ask the police, and they say it's private property, you can park whatever you want. And they're supposed to know the ordinances. So here I am with a very expensive vehicle that now I can't park in my driveway.
Do you have advertising on the side of your vehicle?
Of course I do.
Yeah, okay. That's probably what people find to be
Yeah, but this is after
objectionable.
4 years.
Yeah, well, once again,
But this is not up to the people
right.
complaining. If you're enforcing zoning resolutions based on complaints, that's by definition wrong,
Okay.
isn't it, Mayor?
That's what precipitated this. As a matter of fact, the last time I looked into it,
Let
that's,
me tell you if I'm wrong. Enforcing zoning resolution by complaint only.
We
It's
said
not
it's
wrong.
only.
No, it's not only.
Well, hundreds, here, I'll show you. Hundreds of commercial vehicles.
okay, well then I think you should drop them off to the building department and let them go by. I'm not so sure that that gets
No, we're
where...
not in business of surveying the town. I have a job. I'm not in this business.
Sir,
I'm
I
in
understand. I'm
taxes.
going to look at it first thing in the morning. I'm going to meet with Mr. Pirelli for you. But again, I want to make it perfectly clear, this wasn't a random stop in your driveway. You have a neighbor, if I'm not mistaken, directly next door that's filing and is actually instigating these complaints.
That's correct.
But we need to be clear with that, because I don't want to give anyone the impression that we have an inspector that's overreaching and going to look for this. It's generally a passively enforced ordinance, but I'm going to deal with Pirelli on it tomorrow and find out what the issue is. Now, if I could convince Pirelli to see it your way, you know I'm going to have somebody different at this podium at the next meeting, right? It's going to be your neighbor.
Well, why would it be?
So the
Because
point that I'm making, I hear you.
No,
I'm
but
going
this
to
is
meet with
not-
Pirelli. You
no.
have my word. I'm going to meet with Pirelli, and I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to try to resolve it amicably. I'm pretty good at
With
this.
all due respect, I don't think it's anything funny on this.
Okay, but what I'm going to do is, I don't either,
Wait,
but I
wait.
got to protect everyone's interests here and everybody's rights and enforce the ordinances. So I'm going to, again, conclude it. I'm going to meet with Pirelli, and I'll take it up with him. You have my word.
Well,
I
I
mean,
hope so, because
this-
this is going on for a long, long
This
time.
is since August, and I'll tell you, I had to go out and buy another car to drive to North Bergen, to pick up my van, and it takes me an hour in the morning, and it takes me an hour at night to do this. This is time that I'm taking away from my personal time, from my daughter, from everything. And when I see these other vans parked there, and by the way, I have to tell you, some of these vehicles have their home address written right on their truck, which I was asked a few times.
I'm sorry?
They may have gotten violations also, we don't know.
We just
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
know.
I don't know.
Well,
if they-
according to Mr. Pirelli, they've been given violations, paid them, and gone back to doing it again. Maybe that's the cheaper way for me. Maybe that would have been cheaper than going out and buying a car and parking
I understand your point, and I will
and
take it up.
and
My
paying for
point is-
parking.
I'm sorry, our point is dealing with the text of this zoning resolution. There's nothing mentioned about parking, it's storage. We parking this car here. It's very, very clear. We went by the books, we checked with the police, we checked with the parking authority 4 years ago. We're not doing this. I'm not gonna get into the complaint story or into the film permits which triggered this complaint, because that's a totally different story. And if we'll get to that, it's a totally different avenue.
But we're not here for that.
We're not here for that. But this is going for a long time. My wife came and saw you. No resolution. You promised at the time the same thing. Enough, it's enough. You
I'm going
promised
to
you
take it,
wasn't-
I'm going to take it up, look,
Yes.
let me suggest this to you.
Yes,
On
please.
this type of a matter,
Yeah.
there aren't too many mayors in the county, in the state, that would actually start to meet with the complainant, meet with the building inspector, review the ordinance. The typical answer would be, sorry, not my department, I'll have to have somebody else handle it. Spent a lot of time with Pirelli on this, drove by, looked at it. Was unable to convince him otherwise, but I will take it up with him again tomorrow. That's all I'm going to tell you on the issue. Just remember this, I need to make sure that I'm preserving everyone's rights and interests that are involved. You have my word, I will take it up with him again. Your point is taken, and I will deal with it, okay?
Well, then I hope all of these vehicles, if this has to hold the way
Ma'am,
it is.
if you have
all
the
of
addresses, send them off, and we'll get them to the building department, and we'll have them issue violations, if in fact they're in violation of the ordinance. But I can't opine on that now, because I don't know the building, I don't know the addresses, I don't know the...
We appreciate it.
You got it. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Anyone else from the public? Tommy? Name and address,